Hey everybody, welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid and another late afternoon ramble. This is not a morning ramble, but just because it's late afternoon does not mean that the end is here and it's not the beginning of the day, because the end never comes. All endings are merely new beginnings. It's like a circle, like infinity. And this little white-breasted nuthatch back here on this bird feeder behind me, which you can probably barely see, is proof of that. As is my nice hot coffee out here on this cold day at about 4:30 or so in the afternoon my time. What's Crazy Lake doing drinking coffee when it's only an hour away from dark? Haven't you had enough caffeine yet, Crazy Lake? And why are you doing the morning ramble when it's almost nighttime, Crazy Lake? Let me explain. This is the white-breasted nuthatch. If you live in Virginia like us, I bet you a good percentage of you have this book. Birds of Virginia. The cover looks faded because it is. It looks old, but it's not. We've only had this book for 2 years. But we leave it, I guess, right inside our dining room window there. The whole back wall of our dining room, which faces the outside here, is glass. And the sun comes through and it bleaches this. But I will tell you what, I have hours and hours of fun all winter, every winter, just sitting in there on days when it's too cold to come outside, or at least when it's I don't make myself come outside because it's so cold. And I sit there and look out the windows and watch this feeder and go through that book and see dozens and dozens and dozens of different types of birds. And there is my cue about why is there a pile of sticks underneath that bird feeder. You see little Miss Cleopatra just showed up because she saw the birds. Don't worry, guys, she won't get those birds. I just put bird seed in the bird feeder, and today is the first day we've started feeding the birds for this winter. We don't feed the birds unless it is winter, because we don't want them to become dependent upon us and not fend for themselves. In the spring and the summer and the fall, there's plenty of food for them to get out here. But in the winter, once the temperatures drop, it got down to 26 last night, so we figured it's time to start feeding the birds. The ones that stick around in winter here in Virginia, it's harder for them to get food, and they need the calories to stay warm. But I've begun piling my sticks that have fallen from this walnut tree here below the bird feeder, and now that I'm putting seed in the bird feeder, I will go gather sticks from around the tree line of the forest, and I'll pile a big stick pile there so that Cleopatra can't get in there and kill the birds. The birds will be on the feeder, and they'll actually go down in the sticks and get the seeds that drop down into the sticks. But Cleopatra can't just sit under the feeder and jump up and snatch the birds as they come. So our first winter here, we lost some birds, and we just don't want to do that. We don't want to lure them into their death. So guys, this is a good little tip for you. If you feed the wild birds with bird feeders and you have cats or your neighbors have cats, just pile a bunch of brush underneath the feeder during the time that you're feeding the birds. If you feed them in the winter, leave the brush pile there all winter. We do. And then the cats can't get in there and get to the birds. So I've been out here cutting firewood all day. I've been busting up giant rounds, mostly red oak and some ash, with my 10-pound sledgehammer and my diamond maul. Then I've been chopping them up with my axe after I bust up the rounds. I've been going at it all day. But I did just go in and take a nap in front of the wood stove fire, and it's one of my favorite things in life to do, is to lay on the couch in the living room with a nice hot fire in the wood stove and just sleep. And I slept for about an hour and a half, so I'm having some coffee, and I'm going to go up here and hit this firewood for about another hour before dark comes. So I'm walking around this morning, and I went through and I gave my Leland cypress trees another spraying of the I Must Garden deer repellent we use to keep the deers away. I do have 1 or 2 Leland cypresses down there in the corner. I let the spraying go a little bit too long, I guess, and a buck came through and did what he does with his antlers and said, "Hey, this is my territory, stay away." But he didn't destroy them. He marked them. It's evident that he's marked this as his territory, but those trees are going to make it. He didn't kill them. And so I sprayed all the rest in time. I'm hoping to keep them away. But I'm walking around and I'm thinking, here we are. Winter is here. Like I said, it was 26 degrees last night. There's no doubt. I mean, technically it's still fall, but winter is here. I mean, the temperatures of winter are here. And the leaves are almost gone off the trees now. There's still quite a bit behind me on the oaks. The poplars, the cherry, the sycamore, these have fallen. But there's still oak and hickory on. And it's like round 2 of the Autumn Blaze fireworks show. But they're starting to fall. When the gust picks up, they start twirling to the ground. If winter's not here, it's at least on the way. So I'm walking around spraying these trees. And I thought, this is the end. This is the end. It's the end of what? Well, it's the end of the year. And I'm thinking about all the things that we accomplished this year, some of the things we didn't. So then I start walking through my upper field where I usually do these morning rambles when it's usually morning. At least I'm still rambling. I don't think that'll ever change. Do you remember the old song called 500 Miles? I forget the name of the band. It's an Irish band. They're like twin brothers, and it was the theme song for a Johnny Depp movie called Benny and June. Daniel, our son, who, by the way, is healing up very nicely from his oral surgery. Thank you for all the well wishes and prayers, and you've asked about him. He's doing great. He's actually eating real food today. I'm just cutting it up for him real small. But he heard me listening to some older music here again not too long ago, and that song, I think it's called 5,000 Miles or 500 Miles or 1,000 Miles, something. You probably know the song I'm talking about. And there's a lyric in it. We didn't know what it meant. They say, when I heaver, I'm going to be the man who's heavering to you. Well, we thought, what does that mean? So we were Googling it and Googling it and Googling it. We finally found the answer. I guess it's Irish, or at least from that part of the world. To heaver means to ramble. How ironic is that? So I guess when I heaver, I'm going to heaver to all of you, whether it's morning, afternoon. But so that stayed the same. So it's not the end of the heavering, but it's never really the end, is it, when we view something as the end? So I'm walking through the field, the meadow up there where I usually heaver, and all the green is just about gone, the tall grass, the flowers, all these things. But what's making themselves seen now are the evergreens. I have so many eastern red cedars in those fields now. It's been 2 years since the annoying neighbor that we ran on out of here with the crayon has cut those fields for hay, and I have eastern red cedars in there that I couldn't see even just a week ago that are up to my chin when I'm standing erect. I've found several loblolly pines that are up to my shoulder. I shared one with you in a video a couple weeks ago during a morning heava. By the way, that's us at the Chocolate Hills in Bohol. And on Bohol Island in the Philippines. That's probably 3-4 years ago. This coffee cup, when you can tell I'm halfway through. Once I drink it all, the whole mug will turn black. And then when it's heat activated. Look at that cat back there. Hey, kitty. We'll leave them birds alone. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to wrap this up here in a minute. I'm going to go put some more sticks back there so she can't get to them. But so anyway, I'm thinking, well, It's the end of the year. I'm still telling myself it's the end of the year, though I'm seeing all this new apparent life in the meadow that I couldn't see before, these trees. Now, they've been there. It's not like they just mystically appeared overnight. They've been there. So I walk down to my wood pile, and I go into my garden. I've got a couple gardens. The one that actually has pretty fertile soil in it and where we've had most success. And about a week or 10 days ago, I planted a bunch of garlic cloves in there. Dearly was out with one of her friends one day, volunteering at our son's school, teaching art or something, and I planted some garlic cloves in there. Well, here it is, November, the end of the year, and I see that there's plant life coming up. Those garlic cloves, I should have showed them to you in this video. I'll get them on video here in the next day or so. But they're sticking up about that much out of the soil, and I say to myself, Crazy Lake, how can this be the end? You've got new life right here. You've got garlic coming up that you planted 10 days ago or so. You've got all these new trees in the field that are now obvious or apparent. You can see them. And you've got to get on this firewood something fierce. Now, I know we're still about a month and a half ahead as far as our firewood goes, but I like to get ahead and stay ahead. That's one of the ways I've found you can kind of, I don't know if any of us ever really win at life. The key really is survival. And if you can get ahead and stay ahead, that's a pretty good pretty good way of surviving. So I'm making sure to stay ahead of the firewood. And then again, we started with the bird feeder and the bird seed. I'm going to come back to the bird feeder and the bird seed. It's the beginning. This is the beginning of the time of year when these birds need a little extra help out here. This is the beginning of the time of year when I get to sit inside my dining room and stare out those beautiful big windows and watch these beautiful little critters and get my little Virginia bird book out. And I get that. You guys can get that on Amazon for $7 or $8. And I think most states have a book like that has the birds that are indigenous to their states. You want to talk about a good way to spend some time in the winter. Get one of those little books, put a little bird feeder outside your window. Again, pile up the sticks so the cat can't get them. You'll be amazed at the types of birds you'll see that you don't even know live in your area. There were several last winter, and I can't wait for them to come back this year. But it's the beginning of that. I mean, I don't get to see the spring flowers for a while, and I don't get to have those hot, hazy summer days again for a while. Here in just a few short days, the beauty of the leaves will be gone, so that's gone. But it's not the end. It's just the next beginning, the new beginning of the next cycle. You know, that's what life is. That's what a year is. When we went trick-or-treating on the lawn behind the rotunda there at UVA a couple weeks ago, we go back there, there's thousands of people. I look at some lady, maybe my age, a little bit older, dressed like a witch. I said, "Hey, where does the line start?" And she said, "The line is a circle. There is no beginning and there is no end." And then she danced away. I thought, well, she's got a point. That's life. I guess we say it begins when we're born and it ends when we're dead, but isn't that kind of narcissistic and self-centered? Because when we're born into this world was here a long time before we came into it, and it's going to be a long time. It's still going to be around for a long time once we leave. So if you're getting kind of down and gloomy because winter is setting upon us and you feel like it's the end and maybe you didn't get a lot accomplished, some of your goals, it's not the end. It's just a new beginning. We're still in this continuous, never-ending cycle, and we're at the beginning of the next phase. So consider getting a bird feeder and some bird seed in one of those books, and I'm going to go get some sticks to protect these birds from my cat. Next time we show you a video from this angle, you're going to see a big brush pile over here, and you're going to understand why. So I hope you enjoyed this Hiva, despite the time of day where you are, where it was uploaded. Because if you expect it in the morning and it's not in the morning where you are now, don't worry, it will be soon. This is just the beginning of it almost being morning. Look at those cows over there. What a beautiful sunset. We'll see you guys for more next time from here at Homesteading Off the Grid. Cleopatra, you leave those birds alone.